What's up, insiders? Here we are. Happy
There he
Thursday.
is.
Good to see
Happy
everybody.
Thursday.
Doug in the house, Belinda, Sean, Andrew, Corey, Reed. We see Corey on our gaming stream usually. It's good to have you here. Miriam, Lynn, Irene, Jake. Welcome aboard, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today's been crazy. Thursdays are always my public facing day. So I start with training. Today was Brandlytics. Next week is Movie Makers. And then just nonstop interviews and podcasts. I had an interview just now with a 14-year-old. Like, man, if I was 14 right now, I'd be doing YouTube videos, podcasts, nonstop. Anyway, I'm super jealous. This kid was super. I'm pumped for the next generation too. This kid was super bright. Anyway, but pumped to be here with you guys. Anybody new, welcome aboard. The point of this is, hey, everybody here picked up Built to Serve. I want to make sure I'm a resource for you, that you guys get some results from the book, that it's not just something that's kind of collecting dust somewhere on a shelf, but that you're doing something. And we do these as long as I'm in town and I don't have anything else booked, to try to have this time for us to do some Q&A. We always do a poll, which I lead with, and then whatever questions you guys have, that's what we try to dive into and make it a group coaching session. So let's dive in. So the question that you guys voted on was by Oliver Gonzalez, who said how to deal with imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, there's two things that really helped me. So I used to struggle a lot with imposter syndrome, and hey, still do. But one, I would look at someone like Les Brown, who I think is the greatest speaker of all time, young Les Brown, and I'd think that is crazy. Like, I can never be that good. And what's the point of even making videos if someone like Les Brown exists? And one, I learned to flip it as inspiration, to say, hey, that's what's possible, as opposed to I suck and I can't do it. That this is possible, that somebody has done it, so I can do it too. And I was reminded of Les Brown's speech about Roger Bannister, about the 1 minute 1 minute mile, 4 minute mile. It's a 4 minute mile.
4 minute.
1 minute mile would be insane. That's the next record to break. But Les has a famous speech about the 4 minute mile, that once Bannister did it, then everybody else started doing it because they believed that they could do it, that they saw somebody do it. So I chose to shift my mindset away from, well, look at what Les is doing and look at what Tony's doing, and I can't be good enough, to that's what's possible. They have more years of experience, and I can get to being like that if I work hard at it. Oliver is joining. Oliver, we're answering your question. We just started, so we're answering your question live. Thank you for posting the poll. So that's one. It's like, one, looking at the people who have done it and using that as inspiration, as opposed to jealousy or feeling less than. And then the second thing is just tying back to, I'm helping the person who I used to be, right? Like all of you, you're helping the person you used to be. Your purpose comes from your pain, right? That's the thesis behind Built to Serve. You struggled with something. You could go back and help who you were 5 years ago. You could sit down on a park bench and give that person some really good advice, right? And so instead of worrying about what Tony Robbins would say, or Les Brown, or whoever your hero is, what Oprah might say to that person, you're there saying something, and you could tell former you something. And then there's millions of people who are former you, and they need your help. And so instead of, sometimes when we're looking into a camera, it's why I love this format, because I can see your faces. Sometimes when we're just looking into a camera, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. Like, is anybody watching? Does anybody care? It's hard to get the energy when you just, especially with us being kind of extended at home, now just talking to our phone or video camera. Instead of looking at a lens, imagine that you're talking to you 5 years ago. And what would you say? And that you could help that person. You may not feel like you can help a stranger, but you can help that person. And so just imagine that's you 5 years ago. So I'm 40. So I'm talking to Evan. I really still talk to 19-year-old Evan, because that was when I was struggling the most. So I'll just imagine 19-year-old Evan, and I'm sitting down talking to him. And that feels, if you're talking about how to overcome imposter syndrome, you could help former you. And that's all you're really doing. So if you can picture former you, sit there, talk to that person, it feels authentic. Don't worry about it having to reach a million people out on YouTube or Instagram. So those are the two things that really help me. The people that you feel like you're an imposter compared to, use them as inspiration of what's possible. And then remember that the content you're making is really just for former you. And there's lots of people who are former you, and they need your help. They need your voice. They need you to step up. So that's my quick take on imposter syndrome. I want to open up the floor, see how I can help. What I love most is not just me talking, but making it interactive, seeing what questions you guys have, what you're struggling with, or what's on your mind, and how I might be able to be a resource for you today. So who wants to go first? You can put your hand up like this, or you can raise the hand in the tool. Belinda is she's ready to go. All right, Belinda, it's all you.
I've been waiting.
She's waiting.
I've been waiting to ask this question. So for a business, or for what I do, is time limited, meaning it's employment. So I help people get jobs, and once they get a job, then basically they're done with me. But how would you advertise or market something like that to have a membership or a group?
Ooh, so membership or group is interesting. It would have to focus on continual development. So what are you noticing in trends in employment, in skills? Like, what are companies looking for? How do they level up to get to the next job, whether it's inside their own company or to go to a different business in a different role? So that becomes more not just finding a job, but it becomes more continual growth. I don't know if you want to get into that industry or not, or that's part of the business. So instead of learning how to write, so I know you do resume skills, right? Great.
Right.
They teach you resume skills. That helps them get the job. Once they're in the job, what's the next level of success for them? Do they need to improve their communication skills? Do they have to learn PowerPoint skills? Do they have to learn sales skills? Those could all be different training that you provide or partner with somebody else on to come in and be the expert at.
Okay.
If you were going to do a membership group, the other thing is just staying in touch. This is a lot like a real estate agent. They're not in constant sales cycles because you buy a house every 5 years, every 7 years, right? So how do you stay in touch? They send out their magnets and they send out their their trinkets and hope you put their calendar on their fridge. What would be better is just to check in every now and then, see how they're doing. Like you've helped them through something really important, getting a job when they really needed a job, right?
Right.
It's not that they don't care about you. They just have moved on and are thinking about other things. So to get referrals, like the business becomes referrals, how do you stay top of mind with them? So are you checking in with them, asking how they're doing? Are you following them on social and interacting with what they're posting? What can you do to stay top of mind so that they may not bring you back, or maybe another couple of years because they're happy in their job, but they know somebody who needs help. So it becomes a referral business. Which one sounds more interesting? Or both? Like the referral side by staying in touch, and the membership side of giving them ongoing education.
Okay. Both. I could do both. Either one. I can decide.
Yeah, I would look at what is the number one skill that then they need to learn. Like if it was sales, okay, the number one skill that you think that people need to learn that you've been working through, they need to learn sales skills and communication skills. You look at Evan Tinsman and you say, hey, Evan, I'm looking at doing a membership around selling and communication skills. Do you want to come in and guest train? And Evan says, yeah, I'm down. Or Evan says, no, I don't want to do that. Or you go find another sales or communications trainer. So you don't have to be the subject matter expert on all these things. You just find the people who can do it, and you're bringing the audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm excited. The number one way to grow business is to sell more to your current clients, right? So instead of them leaving you, you're part of their ongoing career journey. What else? Who's next? Lynn is waving her hand and driving. Lynn, you're making me nervous. and she's muted. You have to unmute. Please be safe. Still,
if you can go on to somebody else. I'm going to be at my destination in 5 minutes, but I've got a few questions that I'm just really anxious for you to help guide me through.
What's your most important one? And we'll dive in.
Well, okay. So I'm looking at the road though, if you don't mind. As I'm sitting in the stoplight. Okay, so I am a designer, an artist, a decorator, and my message that I'm trying to get out is that you can reclaim your life through intentional decorating. Okay. And what it comes down to is mindset. And what you keep focused on in your life, you can bring into fruition.
Mhm.
And it's not just woo woo. I know that you know what I'm talking about. But it's having those power thoughts, how to, 2020 was a year that just ripped people apart. They felt helpless. I've taken surveys and had thousands of people respond through my social, and the words that just one word that they used to describe, it was just unbelievable because the variety of responses, I could immediately sense, some people were on the negative side and others were on the positive.
So are you
And
just
so,
trying to like, how do you get the message out about
right.
your work?
So I want to empower people, and I just want to know your advice for what best platform to do that on. Would you say the one I'm comfortable on, or I know you don't know anything about me, but
Oh no, that's enough. Like, so I would,
okay.
if I'm you, and I'll just mute you right now so you can focus on your driving. If I'm you, Instagram is definitely the place. And I'm living what you're preaching, right? Like this space was designed with intention. These pictures mean something to me. The colors on the wall, like this all me, even the clothes that I wear. I don't know if you go that deep on your thing, but in terms of just the environment in the office, I'm with you. I think what you need to do is not worry about convincing somebody that they need to do it, but finding people. And even if you look here, people have different backgrounds, and some of them might be intentional and some of them might not be intentional. You look at Evan Tinsman, and he's got people behind him on the wall as well. Even in our choice, even going so far as like your choice of your Zoom virtual backgrounds to make that intentional for how you show up, right? That could all be part of it. I would be looking at people who are already in the intentional mindset game, who are already posting about it on Instagram, because Instagram is very visual and what you do is very visual. People who are already posting about it just haven't applied it to their actual physical space. So instead of convincing somebody to say, oh man, you really need to change this up, you really need to have an intentional space, and you say, Lynn, don't talk to me. I don't care about all this woo-woo stuff. This doesn't matter, right? Don't worry about trying to convince that person. Instead, you're taking people who are already posting about it, who are already doing it. They're just talking about it in terms of their habits or their routines or their clothing or the people in their life. That they're already of the mindset. They just haven't thought, oh, this actually applies to my physical space as well. Or they just don't know how to do it because they don't think of themselves as a creative or an interior decorator or designer. So they don't have the skill set, so they haven't done it. But you want the people who are already of the mindset and then giving them the solution instead of trying to convince somebody that this is important to them. Yeah. Oh, hold on. You're muted again. Hold on. I asked to unmute. There you go.
That's okay. So you're saying that I'm to search for those people on Instagram. I have a very small presence on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to have go through. Where's my copy? Go through Built to Serve and do the fast path to freedom. You only need your 10 posts on Instagram, but it should be visual. You're in a visual thing. I need to be able to see it. And if you say, if somebody said, well, Lynn, I want a really calm, peaceful environment, that's not this, right? But you can take them. Your job is to take what's in their soul and throw it on the wall.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
But most people have no idea how to do that because they wouldn't even know where to start or what to buy or what color scheme or any of that stuff. Right. But you're taking people who already know that they like that. They just don't know how to apply it to their room, as opposed to convincing somebody, hey, your room sucks and is limiting your mindset and belief system. You should change it. Yeah.
That's exactly what I needed, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Much love. Safe driving. Who's next? Sean had his hand up. What do you got, Sean? Oh, you're muted. Unmute.
Okay, good. I'm unmuted. So I'm working my way through Built to Serve.
Okay.
And I figured out, I believe, my who, where my one word is consistency. But where I'm a little bit stuck is on my credo, because looking at what you have compared to what I came up with family, faith, and field, representing, well, family, faith, and career, whatever, but I wanted it to be an F. So I said field. Am I looking at this the right way?
It can be, as long as it's, I want to have consistency in my family, consistency in my faith, and consistency in the field. And then
Okay.
it's equally for you as well as your message to the world. So your greatest growth is on the other side of even more consistency with your family. People might look at you and say, but you're the most consistent person we know with your family. Yes, but there's another level to it as
Right.
well. You could be more consistent with your family. You could be more consistent in your faith, and even still now more consistent in your career. So
Okay.
your next level of unlock is still on the other side of more consistency in those things, and then teaching other people how they can do it too. So somebody comes to you and says, Sean, I don't know how to be consistent in any of those areas. I don't know how to do it. You can give them the template for like what action steps they can do, but also the hope
Okay.
and inspiration that it's possible. Because people will feel like I've quit on things so many times. Someone like me, I just can't be consistent. And you're going to share your story of how you didn't used to be consistent and how you figured out how to do it. And it gives them the inspiration. More important than even the steps is the hope that it's actually possible, because they don't believe that they could be consistent. I'm people who message me and say, I just can't be consistent on anything. You could tell them exactly what to do, but because they have the belief that it can't be done, they won't do it.
Right.
So that's where sharing your story of how you used to not be consistent, wherever you did struggle in any of those areas, in all of those areas, you were not as consistent with your family as you are now. What changed? What happened? What did you do? Right. And so in telling that story, that makes me feel, who's inconsistent on everything, that it is actually possible. Then they'll listen to the advice. It's like, okay, well, if Sean could do that, maybe I can too. And that maybe opens the door for learning. Where if you just lead with the steps, they have the wrong belief system, they're not going to make any changes.
Got it. Okay, good. I'm on the right path. Thank you so much.
I love it. I love it. Cool. What else? And then like tying in Lynn's thing, it's like, well, what could we inject into your environment to make it consistency, like to remind you? Like maybe now she's thinking, oh, you need to have 3 pictures, and one of faith, one of family, and one of your work, right? Or maybe the chair has to change. I don't know. I mean, she's probably already going out with crazy ideas behind her anyway. But that kind of thing, because a visual reminder of who you are trying to be is really, really, really important. So yeah, Lynn, honestly, like having people even read your one word or Built to Serve to figure out what their who is and their credo gives a lot of insight into the person so that you can design a better space for them. Cool. John's got John's got a great example. So John has a virtual background because as he put his hand up, his hand disappeared. There it goes. What do you got, John?
In the beginning of your career, did you have any challenges in doing videos being an introvert? And if so, how did you break through that?
I still do. You know, like today, this is fun because we've done this before, and I know it's all love. But when I, this month interviewed Matthew McConaughey and Deepak Chopra, I was still super nervous to get on and do those interviews. The way through is a couple of things. One, you do difficult things, like not allowing the fact that it's difficult be a good enough reason anymore. The fact that I said it was difficult means I have to do it. 2, you focus on service. That's not about you. It's about the message that you're not doing. Why are you doing this? Because you have a big ego and you want to be on stage? No, you're doing it because you want to help. You want to serve. There's people out there who need to hear from you, and they need you to stop being afraid, and they need you to step up. Right? I mean, that's what I literally tell myself before I'm about to go on stage. Like, these people need me to stop being afraid and need me to step up because what I've got could help them. So you shift the focus from you to serving and being of value. And I had a third point, but I got caught up in that second one. Where was I going with that? I don't remember, but it may come back.
If you could remember, what would it be?
Yeah, great. Thanks, John. Oh, I remember now. I always focus on who's here instead of who's not. So even looking inside this group, right? I mean, how many of us are here? 20? We've had more, we've had less, but I'm not saying, oh, why are there not 100 people here or 1,000 people here? I'm just focused on Belinda and Sean and John and Lynn and like the people who are here asking questions, and how can I bring value and help. And so again, it's another shift towards service, where if you think about, you're making a video, at the goal isn't for it to have 1 million views. The goal is for it to touch somebody's life. And if 80 people watch it, somebody in those 80 people, maybe that's a life-changing video for them. And so it doesn't mean that you stop wanting to grow and build and get better and push yourself and get more results. But the default mode becomes, hey, 80 people watch this. You guys showed up here today. Hopefully I say something that touches you in some way that allows you to go create something. At least that's what I'm telling myself to get me here doing it. Right. So that was my third point. Yes, I remembered. What else? We're flying through. We got 5 minutes. What do you got? Evan, you put your hand up there?
Yeah, I was just gonna to piggyback on what you said, because I was hung up for a long time on, and I'm not as consistent as I should be, but I'm getting there, getting back to it. But I used to be, and we've talked about this, more concerned about views, likes, and all that stuff. But when I shifted from what I thought they wanted to hear versus just, as you told me, the more intimate stuff, I get less views, I get less likes, but I'm getting more people reaching out to me individually through messaging and email and things like that, which is ultimately what, the end game is anyways. But I still struggle with that, because you look and like, oh man, no, it had 27 views, and I struggle with it, but it's correct.
It's just a reminder. Like, how do you, it's just not fully ingrained yet. How do you get it fully ingrained? It's the turning the conscious into the subconscious through practicing. So that becomes a default mode. And it's not that you ever like just fully stop caring about it. Yes, you want to build and serve, but reminding yourself of what is my ultimate intention here of doing this, that I want people, especially with the stuff that you do is actually life saving, life changing. Evan is content a lot about addiction and how to overcome it. And that's like life or death for some people, right? More than what I do of entrepreneurship. So if somebody messages you and says, hey, this actually saved my life tonight, I mean, that's worth way more than 5 extra likes on your post. So it's just a reminder. It's like that you constantly telling yourself that until it becomes actually ingrained.
Where that has crossed into my world though of sales, the type A, the extroverts, the particularly like alcohol addiction runs really high, because the type A we chase dopamine. So it's amazing how many people are actually reaching out to me that even I know, like peers of mine that I had no idea, same struggles, but the outward appearance is good. The internal struggles are still there, but they just mask it well. So eventually your niche as well catch up to it. You just got to kind of let it take on its own life and let it breathe a little bit.
And that's where your story becomes super powerful, because they see you as a successful salesperson who then also suffered with this. A lot of people just aren't sharing because they feel bad about their ego and their reputation. And they're supposed to have it all figured out and be this type A superstar salesperson, breadwinner for their family, achieve. Meanwhile, they're sitting at home trying to drink their problems away. And you sharing that you went through that, like, oh, I'm not the only one, is super, super powerful. Last one, Amy, or is that Ame here in the house? See your hand up. Are you there? We can't hear you if you're there. I see you unmuted, but we can't hear anything you're saying. Give it 3 seconds. 2, 1. No? All right. Not sure what's going on. Maybe microphone issues. Anybody else? One last question. Time flies. Time flies. It's crazy. So let me just end with a thought then. I've been on podcasts. I did my Brandlytics this morning, and then been on podcasts and interviews all day long. And then after this, just more coming up. And I was looking at my stats. We've done over 10,000 videos. And one of the common questions I get asked, that I've been asked 3 times already today, is how do you deal with burnout? And I think it's a fair question. I think the key thing is that you actually love the thing that you're doing, right? I've made over 10,000 videos, been doing this since 2009. And it's been 7 years or something since I haven't not uploaded a video. I'm here with you guys. This is fun for me, right? Like, unless nobody shows up or it's just you guys say, hey, Evan, it's kind of a waste of time. Okay. I'll move on to something else, but this is fun for me. So it's not just about the end result of how many views or how many, sales or whatever. Like, the end result's important, but more important is the actual process. So I don't burn out because it doesn't feel like work. When I look at my Thursday calendar and I see you guys are here, it's like, oh, this is exciting. I wonder who's going to show up. I wonder how, like, if one of my answers here today helps you take Built to Serve and do something a little further with it, and then that has these ripple effects out. Like, I can't touch the people that Sean and Evan and Lynn and Belinda can touch. Like, you guys are touching people that I'm not touching. And so, like, if this 25 minutes becomes one extra little push or seed, that makes me feel awesome. So I do it because I love the actual process of it, and I don't burn out because it's not work. And I think if you show up and it's like, oh, this feels like work, or I hate this, or you see it on your calendar and it gives you really negative energy, you're probably doing the wrong thing. But if you wake up and you love it, and not to say that compassion fatigue isn't real and that burnout can't be real, but I think you'll burn out a lot faster doing work that you hate, right? The example I always go to is accounting. I hate accounting. So if I was doing accounting, I would burn out in 2 days. But I'll make 11 years worth of videos 10,000 times all day long. Like, let's go. You have to pull me away from this microphone. Anyway, so it's just a good audit. Like, if you look at your calendar and you see, hey, I'm excited for the day, or do I hate the day ahead? And like, what are the things that are causing you negative energy in the calendar today, in the week or the month ahead? And not that you can just shift it tomorrow, but you make your transition to say, I'm going to stop doing, you just stop doing the work that brings you super down, which may even include firing clients, right? One of the business that I'm invested into, we're letting go of a couple clients who pay super well, but are just big energy drains. Like, hey, it's not worth you sucking your energy to help them. Go focus on helping these people instead. So looking at your calendar and seeing if that happens consistently, where there's something that's dragging you down, long term, that can't be a part of your plan. You have to find a way out and through. Anyway, that was a little fun, little ending rant. I don't know if that was helpful to you guys. But thank you for the love. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for picking up Built to Serve. I hope you apply it. Next week, we're off because I'm in an all-day event. But the week after, I think we're back on. So again, we'll do a poll in the group. Put whatever topic you want to talk on. I want me to talk on. The winning one, I do an opening thought, and then bring your questions. Be Belinda. Come early. Say, I got my question. I want it answered. She had her hand up, ready to go. I love you guys. Thank you for all the work you're doing and spreading your mission. Continue to believe. I want to see you in 2 weeks. Much love, everybody. I can't talk today. Much love, everybody. Goodbye.